This conference will now be recorded.
Good evening. Let's get this party started. So start with roll call of council. Craig. Here. Tina. Nikki. Randy. Yes. Corey.
Here.
All right. Let's do the pledge just because. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, first scheduled matter is the appointment of Jordan Allhands to city judge for the remainder of Judge Behar's term, which would be 10/1, so October 1st through December 31st of this year. And then I would like to appoint her to the following 4-year term. So we formed the selection committee. We met, reviewed the 3 applications that the town received, and then finally came to kind of a unanimous decision of Jordan Allhands. But for an appointment, I have to have approval of the council.
I have one question. I only have one question. So it doesn't have to go through the town's people. We don't have to put it on a ballot or anything.
No,
Okay.
you can double check that town code. We had to publish and the requirements, and then accept applications, and then you review with approval of council. They are appointed.
I make a motion to appoint Jordan Allhands to city judge.
Second.
Any other discussion?
This is vote for right now is just to finish out that term, right? Will there be a second?
And the following.
And the following 4-year term.
Okay, so it's both that we're voting yea or nay. Okay.
Any other discussion?
I'm sorry, who was the second?
Corey.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody got anything on it?
The question, is it the same pay rate? Or
The pay rate, well, how do you put that? Jordan already receives medical benefits from her other daytime job, so we won't have that, but then it was an increased off of from arts to here, to where we're at now, plus mileage. And that's required.
So how much?
I don't, 26,000 a year.
From what was it before?
21 plus benefits.
22.
Oh.
And why mileage? Plus benefits.
It's required by Montana code. Mileage from Virginia City, not from her residence, because that's where she always starts her day, in Virginia City anyway. So that was the agreed upon.
But if she lived here, we wouldn't have to pay much.
But then there's others, yes, no benefits too, when you look at finance. Conference will split with the county, and travel for conference will split and food. So there's a little bit there, but
Is there a way to change it to approve her for the interim for the remainder of Judge Behar's term as a condition to find out whether or not she would be a good qualified candidate, and then we can reappoint her for the remainder of the 4-year tenure?
you can if you want to. Then you have to reopen it and go through selection committee
So you
again.
have a motion and a second on the table.
So
We do.
Vote on that motion and second on the table right now, if you wish to vote again, then you have, if there's something, you need to vote that down, and then you need to vote again. You make another motion, another second, and then vote again.
There still are more special periods.
Yeah,
If you guys think they can change it.
Yeah.
And to do that, they have to write this down.
I'm asking whether or not the rest of the commission will be in favor of changing it to possibly changing the motion.
I mean, she's pretty qualified. She's working in PCI.
She is. She's very qualified.
Yeah.
Oh, I 100% agree.
I personally don't think we probably need to change the terms, but if you have a reason you think we should.
No, I don't.
Okay, any other discussion? All right, the motion to appoint Jordan for the remainder of Bihar's term and then the following 4-year term. Craig?
Aye.
Tina?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. All right, now we can just like hang out and do budget work session. So this is just the general portion because it's one of the larger sections of it. Do we want to get cozy like we did last time? Do we need rulers?
What did you guys do last time?
Why are we just doing the general right
Because last one went so long, I thought we'd section it. And then do another one and do the other. It was, this and water and sewer seem to be the largest sections. Yes. All right. Where am I at? So you want to look at revenue first or expenditure?
Revenue.
Revenue. Corey takes the lead. All right. So the overall, where are we at? All right, Ginger, take the lead. But basically, overall, our increase from the previous year is $22,062 from our mill levy, our mills. Correct?
That, well, that's
No.
that's not just general fund, that is total.
Total.
mills.
That includes our permissive? And, no.
The 76.85 mills that you see on the one sheet that says determination of tax revenue and mill limitations. On there was 76.85. That's a state calculation. So that is how many mills we can levy for this year. So, put down on this one. So that goes, that is to be divided amongst all the tax, the funds that use tax money. So that's general fund, library, planning board.
court.
No, courts in general.
Oh.
PERS and health insurance. So those are tax-based funds. And like Nikki said, over last year, we only gained $22,062. I was hoping for it to be better than that. But as the mill went up, our amount that we can levy went down. Last year, we got to levy 99 mills, 99 point some mills.
Who decides that?
That state calculation, and there's nothing, absolutely nothing we can do about it.
Ginger, do you know what percent increase that is from last year? If it's 22,000 of.
I didn't figure a percent on it, Corey. I was just astounded to see that it was only $22,000.
Yeah. Me too.
I have a question. I understand what you're saying about the increase in the amount you're able to levy, but my question is, I looked through the revenue budget report, and maybe I need to go back to school for math, but, so, on the back page, your grand totals, about 8% over old budget, 108% more in the general fund.
108%. Well, yeah, it would.
So I'm just looking at, I just want to understand. So I'm looking at 23, 24, and there's 712,000. And then over last year of $661,470. 8% of that is $714,000. There's $712,000 here. And besides that, I'm looking to add up all of the overages over 100% in each category. And I'm not coming up anywhere in there with what's listed on here. So I don't really understand where all the numbers are coming from. So okay, so back here, it looks like we have 8% over, 108% over the previous budget year. You know what that says?
Yes.
Okay. So,
But this is all like generated by the software. So I don't go in and physically figure if each percent is exact with what the software is saying. There's like
Okay.
the investment earnings, when I reinvested the money, our investment earnings went over the top.
is that what this is,
2,000?
Yeah.
2,000% over.
So,
It's probably just a rounding.
yeah, I don't understand that. So if you add that up to what's going on there, and you're way over this amount.
Because we got it, because the 22-23 budget was 1,000, and this year it's 20,000. So
Right.
that's
Yeah,
2,000%.
Okay. Well, yeah, I trust you that these totals just don't add up. When you add up all the individual
Yeah,
overages.
and it's a software.
Okay.
And so why is that different? If it was $1,000 last year, why did it jump to $20,000?
Because we actually brought in 22,657 when I reinvested.
Can you say that again, 22,000?
It should be on there under.
22, 23.
23,
Okay.
that's okay. And then current budget, I had budgeted 1,000. But we in fact got the 22,000 last year. So this year, I budgeted that we would get 20,000. So it's, the percentage increase is over what was budgeted last year, not actual. Does that make sense? So same with on first page, the very first set of numbers, that local option tax. That comes from the county, and it is from people licensing various vehicles. And I budgeted, or we actually brought in 73,000 and I had budgeted 56. Cannabis tax is new. And that one I'm kind of taking a stab in the dark at an estimate that I got. That's gonna be paid quarterly, I understand. And the first quarter was a short one, or the first payment out.
That's the 633?
Yes, yeah, we had that amount come in, and then, I mean, there's nothing, it's brand new, so there wasn't a lot to base that one. Licenses and permits. The general is actually business licenses. And then you have your zoning permit and dog tags. And I took the zoning permits down some because I think they're gonna slow up a little bit. Oh, yeah, you got it, Eric. The next set, rest area costs are reimbursable at the end of next year, or at the end of this year. The table and the gaming machines are set by the state. And then the state entitlement is, how do I explain that? MMIA went after that for the towns so that there was some tax monies that weren't being utilized. So they went after those for us, and this is the outcome of that. And that's a set amount. They send information on that. The next one is the police department, and that is what the school contributes.
I have a question on that. I mean, we do 2% increase on absolutely everything else for inflation. Why is that not?
It's a contract. It was a MOU.
It's an MOU, not a contract.
MOU, but it was for 3 years, and I believe this is the third.
This is the third year, so it will go up once we renegotiate that for the next go round, but it's a 3-year MOU.
Okay. And back to the rest area, is that negotiable, or is that just a number that?
That's what they give you.
That is the number that the state sends us. This is what we will reimburse.
I'm trying to get it, so what's that?
Nothing.
No, and it's going down every year, just so you guys know. Every year it's getting less and our costs are going up.
Go ahead.
They liked us in 20 and 21. That was a good rest area year. But not so
Yeah,
much
and
the
it
year
started-
before.
It started out at 9,000, but yeah, it's dwindling.
I think we should sell it.
I'm with you, Eric.
100%.
was just a estimate or guesstimate. And you always go a little lower than what
You think?
you think that it may be. And the rents and leases are the apartment and the ambulance bay.
Is there some change?
Which is the ambulance bay going away?
I don't know.
Probably
Almost
not
lost.
enough.
I just lost my mind Monday, so maybe. I don't know.
Other miscellaneous is just hit and miss stuff.
Like report requests for us, we charge for reports, any release report.
Fingerprints.
Fingerprints.
There's
That's what I-
numerous little things that come in. And on the bottom of that, it says reimbursement for. That is where we're billing back people for work that Forrest does on behalf of their project. We bill that back to the contractor or the developer.
Is that new?
So we're not.
We did that when we did the,
We started it, what, Nikki,
we did it when we redid the zoning permit cost, remember? Last fall. It was a long year ago, I think, but it was
So the
right.
1,000, we're not actually gonna get that, are we? If they're paying for it, I mean.
very, very possibly. And then we went over the investment earnings. The last items on there, we paid off the SID on Madison Avenue, but it was on people's taxes. And those aren't fully paid off yet, so there's still some money coming in, but even though the SID is paid for, some people paid ahead, so we got to pay it off early. So the amounts are there, 5,057. The auditors told me to transfer that into general fund. And the other is a water and sewer for IT services. That gets transferred out of water and sewer into IT, which is also covered in general fund.
Where did those numbers come from?
Actuals from budget.
The 7,000?
So Eric, when I do my time sheet, I break it down by which department gets the IT services. Yeah. So that's how we take that out of there. We just take the amount of hours out of there and average it out for the next year.
So that's an hourly, okay,
Yeah.
thanks. We're not talking.
What? I'm thinking. I actually want to know if that doesn't make sense either. If the 108, is it like, you know how it gives totals? If it's a total calculation based on all the percentages, you know what I mean? That would be,
That's what the 108 says to me.
I would bet that that's what that is, but I don't know that.
That 108 is the increase, right? For the final budget over the current budget. Is that what that is?
Well, like Terrence said,
Yes, right.
Because it's actually a little less than 8%. I think it's just rounding, it just rounds up. I think it's actually like 7 point, like 7.5 or 7.7 or somewhere in there probably.
Yeah. And it's
So it just rounds up.
All right. Any other questions on the revenue? Does that kind of make sense where we're at?
So on the on licenses and permits, that general is business license only?
Yes.
We accept that.
You always budget low in revenue. We are going to be losing the liquor licenses. Anybody that is licensed with the state, we are not any longer going to be able to do anything but a general business license for them. So we're gonna lose some revenue there. If they are state licensed, then we can't charge them. Like the liquor licenses, that's our biggie. All we'll be able to charge them is a general business license. We can't have the liquor fees on there anymore.
Yeah. That was across the board, like, and they're saying it applies to
Beauticians,
barbers, short-term rentals,
Anybody who holds a state license.
physical therapy, pharmacies, all of them. It's just a general business license all the way across the state. Changed that in the last legislative session.
That's what I thought I remember you mentioning.
So that'll go down quite a bit. And then we've had a lot of contractors in too, and who knows if that'll. Some of them paid twice.
Been great about having their subcontractors and getting business licenses. Madison Foods.
And some of them,
I think whoever their
I've dealt with their general. And
Their general over there,
They're really
they
good
have
at that. They're real,
I will
they
say
go
they've
friendly,
been-
they've been really easy to work with. They've been really
Yeah.
great, actually.
and some of them paid like in May, knowing that they'd have to redo in July, but they thought they might start, so they were on it. All right. Now to the spendy part. Spendy part. Won't go anywhere. All right. So the overall goal in wages this year, which is probably one of our bigger per expenditures. Last year we did an 8%. That's not even close to feasible this year. So we tried for 5. So that's what these numbers are based on in salaries and wages. To try and keep up with some of the inflation that is happening. All right. So that's the increase that you're seeing, salaries and wages there.
So how does 5% equate to 100? Is that over, how many people does that cover?
And
Salaries and wages went up 122%. Is that Ginger? Is Ginger, or is that Ginger Maria?
It's Ginger, the deputy clerk, has some wages out of that, and then the mayor and commission.
Okay, thank you.
compensated absences are required.
What is the deputy clerk wage currently set at right now?
It's dependent on who we get, right?
So it's kind of negotiable.
We've left it kind of negotiable. I mean, if somebody comes in that have the really strong computer skills and past experience or experience in what they're gonna be doing, then we've got to consider a little more than a ground level wage of $17 an hour.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I spoke with the clerk at Three Forks, and they're 17 to 19
Is there starting?
dollars an hour is where they're at.
But that's just one town.
Right, sure.
I've looked at a lot of them.
And
Yeah. Yeah, I think
starting
it's,
more like
I feel like it's
22.
more.
I could keep it really close hand just because I want to raise the starting wage for public works. They're all going up. A lot of these towns are having to put this out just to keep people around.
It's not an employer's market anymore.
No.
Step. I think management, just throwing it out there, just had to give those guys a $10 raise.
Just keep
Just to keep, because they were on that $17 an hour wage scale.
Oh, and they're super close to
Yeah.
Bozeman, so they could easily start there for considerably more.
Yeah, we all know that.
So a $10 an hour raise, like 20 grand a year.
Yeah, because there was several of them that left to go deliver milk for $10 more than once.
That was one thing. I'm just
Yes,
gonna
driver.
bring this up. The lumberyard actually had a little flyer for their business,
Just
which
got this huge.
listed all of the benefits for being part of the Ennis lumber team. If you guys get a chance, stop in and grab that little postcard. It's meant to bring one here, but it just like lists what it means to be a part of their team and just kind of spelled it out. They actually had a lot of benefits that I was just like, wow, okay. I don't know. It's just kind of an
Weren't they just bought out?
All right.
I have a question on publications of formal legal documents.
Mm-hmm.
Are those, project oriented or are those, so for instance, just give me an example of what those are.
Those are our ordinance changes and the publications to do
just
that.
publications in the paper if they have a meeting that requires it, like a variance request or ordinance.
So I'm just wondering if you're doubling that as coming out of general fund, anything that's project oriented, shouldn't the proponent be paying for that? So if someone's asking for variance, should that be included in their costs instead of?
And they are billed back. So that would come in under, I mean, Susie's supposed to be billing those back. And it would come back in under those miscellaneous.
You have to also go with, there was more ordinance change in the first 6 months.
Yeah, I understand that. I
Then-
was just wondering.
And with 2 public hearings per ordinance,
But yeah, Karen, they're supposed to be billed back to the contractor or developer or whoever.
when they're
doing the
conditional use and
project.
major site plans, yeah.
Thank you. And so where would that report on the revenue budget?
Under
That's-
the miscellaneous revenue, other miscellaneous. And then if you, when I deposit those monies, or if they come back when I deposit them, I spell out what it's for everything that's deposited. Whether you're looking street bonds, fingerprints, I mean, if there's a line item, and I do have reports that I can print out that will tell you everything that's come in by individually.
And they're cross-checked. I mean, like, when she gets a permit.
And Nikki's got a notebook.
So everything that Forrest and the publications go in my notebook. As soon as Susie creates the invoice and is paid, then it goes in the notebook that's up front. Because we don't have any other way, because we don't have that part in Black Mountain anymore. Well, we had it for ambulance billing, the invoicing that way. But we don't have that anymore, so. All right, so telephone, that's gone.
Telephone is gone because John has saved us buku bucks. There. What is our phone a month?
So we used to be paying on the upwards of, per line that we had in here, we used to pay on the upwards of about $40 per month. It is now, and that was 3 lines coming into this building. Now we have 16 lines coming into this building, and we pay $32 a month on the average.
Total.
Total. That's it.
Yay, much better.
So everybody has an extension, everybody has voicemail, we get voicemails to email now, so that someone leaves voicemail, we instantly get it to our email. And we can set up unlimited extensions, the phone system's all automatic now, so we don't have to, when it gets time the office closes, it automatically switches to a different greeting. We're actually up into the current century with technology on the phone system now.
The translations are always great though in your email.
Oh, yeah. Some of those leave a little bit to be desired.
The translator is not quite up to par yet, but pretty good.
But the way some people talk, it's a wonder it gets anything.
But it attaches the audio file, so you can always listen to it too.
Mm-hmm.
Which happens.
I know, I can say the same thing.
Yeah.
All right, counting and auditing.
That's broke out between different funds, accounts and funds. So that the different accounts are in general fund are the administration, the finances, payroll.
And that's the state audit, right? Is that what we're saying?
That's
that is?
our auditors that come in.
Yeah.
And then
Next,
water and sewer.
okay. Next is travel. Still budgeted so that we can all go to conference. That's
Is
where.
anybody traveling with me in October to Helena?
I'll go.
You'll go? I put a thing in your box, I think you threw it away.
In town. Kind of interested in that.
The League of Cities and Towns. Yeah.
Kind of interested.
What day is that?
October 11th through the 13th.
I don't know that I have time, but I actually.
And that's just
They have
to,
some good stuff up there, but like the police chief one for me is, I went there one year and, they spend the morning doing the legal update and then the rest of the entire conference is team building. We go golfing, they go floating, for me, it's kind of a waste that the police chiefs do that. We have the MSPOA, which is the Montana Peace Officers Association. That conference is much better, to go to, from my side of that.
And I think I put the cards in all of your slots in there.
and
Wednesday through Friday.
It's a Wednesday through Friday?
Oh, yeah.
And if
But
you
anyway,
go
so
for
your
anything-
travel is in case you guys decide you want to go somewhere.
And if you're gonna go for anything, look and see what the legal updates are. Those, because it was a legislative year, that's the best part to go for, because they will give you all changes, everything that's changed, been updated, and they break it down into very simple terms, and you can ask lots of questions. That's probably the best part of that whole conference.
And they also let you know what's on the horizon, what could be coming up in the future.
All right, and training services, we left that in there as well in case we wanted to bring somebody in-house for anything. Because it'll be new council year too, or could be portions. You know what I mean? Not that there was 3 people that ran, but there were 3 seats open, so having MSU come back in as well.
Does that encompass forest as well?
Yeah.
If he's brought in to train you guys.
Yeah.
Plus, otherwise it comes out of, there's some in the planning board for it. Is where we put that to. Because we're gonna have growth policy in there too. Okay.
And those could really be joint sessions.
Mhm.
Planning board and commission.
Sure, I'd love to be in.
Other purchase services.
A couple things that's in there is, like some state reports that I require help with. GASB reports. I swear the state just changes things because it's job security for them. But then they hand down new reports for all the cities and towns.
So who are you paying for that information for the assistance?
It's usually Ennis, our auditors. I can get them to do that at the same time that they're doing the audit.
But we have to pay for it separately?
It is separate, yes. And I generally get Norm Klein to help me with the year-end report that has to go into the state. He's an accountant.
He just double checks, make sure you did everything right?
Yeah, he helps me put it together. It's pretty daunting, Nikki. And again, they change it annually. And it's hard for me to keep up and understand exactly what they're doing.
And good old insurance.
Liability insurance increased this year.
All right, on to court prosecutor.
What is commission projects?
Oh, we always leave that if we want. Sometimes there was the prom thing, we can use that for materials. If we were gonna go do something, like we had enough paint for the Lions Club bathroom. If we're gonna do Granny's gazebo, we can get paint and material out of that. Stuff like that.
So if you guys see a project in town that you want to put money towards, you could do that. I mean, it's just to use as you guys.
So if it's not used every year, is it rolled over?
It goes into the,
And it goes into the ending cash balance.
yeah.
And then where does that ending cash balance go?
It rolls right back into.
In the bank.
Essentially, yes.
Over.
So, Nikki, it would be cash available on this long sheet.
We don't have it in here.
Cash available, number 4. And that, no, it's not on there, 'cause I was just showing bills.
Yeah, it's just from the mills.
Do you not have one of the reports, Nikki?
I don't think so, I don't have that cash report. And then
Oh, that's, yeah.
Do you want me to go make copies? Anyone want a copy?
It's here.
That's my chance. That's my chance to work.
Bathroom break. Good, I can see. Get some hopes and claims.
Yes.
That was another thing that the state mandated. We had to put in the budget.
Yep.
When did it take, when did it?
Oh, I would have to look back. Positive. All right, that's something. Oh, you're welcome.
Are we done? Are we done?
Mr. Pan.
So, prosecutors, that's James.
Yes.
He's going up 11%. What does that get you? What does that 11% get you? Is it more time or just he costs more? Crazy.
So that's criminal prosecution.
I'm still asking, what does that get you? Is it more time he's putting in or is it?
No, that's our caseload has doubled. His caseload has doubled because we now have 2 officers writing tickets. So we've doubled the number of tickets that he has to handle in court criminally.
So we have to pay him and the judge every single.
James is paid monthly with claims.
Right.
And the judge is on payroll.
So, and then is that also required that you pay him travel? Is that also state?
So the travel is for him going to a conference, which is a benefit to us because he gets all the legal updates.
But if he's essentially a contractor, wouldn't he pay for
It's
that?
part of what he negotiated.
Thank you.
Does he utilize that every single year? Or I guess
Yeah.
last year was 487, so then the remainder also rolls over
Mm-hmm.
to the cash reserves or straight back into his account?
So
No,
anything,
cash, right?
It goes into.
Always
reserves.
anything in general fund that is left over goes into cash reserves automatically. So everything rolls over. It's not like your checkbook where you just get to keep it. It literally has to go back into general fund. So anything from anything in general fund that's not used, it literally just goes back into cash reserves, general fund for the next year.
And it goes right back into that department.
No, it goes back into
General.
cash reserves, general fund.
The ones that are out of general fund, but like the planning boards is separate and it goes right back to planning board specific. And the
enterprise
libraries
fund
goes,
specific.
that's just the library, whatever's left over from that goes back to that. All right,
On that legal size sheet, Nikki, that's what I was talking. It's column number 4, cash available. So that's your year-end cash. And there's nothing on this one because I'm just showing on this one, that's for the mill levy part of the meeting.
all right. City court. Salaries and wages.
So where was the compensated absence at before it was on the general fund?
It just wasn't put on there at all.
It's new, correct?
Right.
It's a new line item in each.
And I've got a,
What is?
Compensated absences. Okay.
Can I just ask? So, okay, compensated absence. So here, I mean, I've seen it 22, 23. Where'd that from? I had 2 separate questions about that. Okay, for city court, compensated absence. So you're looking to pay out Arts and Susie, if that were required? Is that what?
yes.
Okay. So my question about that is, I was looking at compensated absences, and so right now, Arts is at 2,400, and Susie's at 10,000. So does she spend 1 out of her 5 days in court? How much time does she spend? Is it 1/5 of her job?
Wages are, I think court is 30%.
Yeah.
30% of her wages. So you're adding, so is that what you're trying to get to, is her 30%? Because I'm looking at, in past years, 2021, 21, 22, and 22, 23, a total of 75,97 was budgeted for that, for compensated absence. But I'm only seeing, and then you're adding another, I'm only seeing for 22, 23, 36,8. When I look at our past budget sheets from, past, like, I looked at 21, I can show you. You know, all $7,500 were budgeted. So where did that
Well,
go?
at one point Susie was being paid more out of court.
Before she was done.
Before, yeah. Because they were holding court like 2 days a week,
Right.
so her percentages changed. When her job descriptions change.
Okay. So, but was she ever paid out for anything? What I'm asking for is,
No,
when I look at I can show you, I can pull it out, when I look at the 21, 22 budget, up until 22, 23, there was a total of 7,500 budgeted for compensated absence at city court. But I look at this one, it says 22, 23, there's 3,860, and then you're adding another 5,600. I'm not understanding where that money
I'm not
went.
adding 5,600.
That's a total of?
That's a total for this budget year, the 5620.
Okay. So let me.
3860 was last year.
So yeah, I'm just trying to understand.
So did you, when you have to calculate the compensated absences, so I say this, I get it right. When is that? When is the end of last fiscal year?
Yes.
Okay, so the end of the
Do you
fiscal
have
year,
those?
end of the fiscal year, they have to look at how much vacation time and sick time that the employees have built up. And they have to budget for that if that employee were to pick up and leave at that time.
Yeah.
So that they can pay that all out. That is where that money is coming from.
Right, so I'm looking at a total, right now, I'm looking at, I'm looking at Susie's total, which is split between court, I'm not sure how that's split out, court and now planning. And then arts payout, so that's a total right now of $12,900. So empty. So let me get my words out here. Give me the big sign.
One for you, is she leaving?
What?
Is she leaving?
No, not that I'm aware of, but she is.
No, we're just looking.
Like,
I'm just trying to
looking.
understand how all this works.
Why is she in here?
Why isn't she?
Is she leaving? Are we budgeting for her to leave or?
You
We
have to.
We have to put that money in there in case they
Why are
decide.
we not budgeting for me to leave?
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody.
You're
I'm budgeted to leave.
Yes.
Yep, I'm budgeted to leave, Matt's budgeted to leave, you better leave it.
I'm just curious.
Yeah.
The only ones that's not budgeted to leave are any of you. Sorry.
And it's 100% on all vacation.
You leave, you still don't get anything else.
Yeah,
Oh,
the guy across the street got $0 for, I don't know, anyways, let's go.
Okay, but I guess my question is what does prior years matter when we're working on this fiscal year?
Well, I'm wondering where that money went.
It didn't go anywhere if it wasn't paid out.
Goes right back in the general fund.
But if they're using sick and vacation and earning sick and vacation, those numbers are going to change according to what
Where is
They've
what they earn and what they use.
Okay, so if I'm understanding. Okay, so basically, I think what we're getting at is that she hasn't used them, and therefore that's why it had to be increased. Is because,
I completely understand that. I can ask you, yeah, I don't want to take anybody's time, but this is just something, I mean, that I'm not seeing where the numbers match up from. So I'm looking at expenditure, the multi-year actuals for 21-22.
So Karen, they're not gonna match up because you accrue time, you use time. So if I use all of my vacation time one year, or if I get sick and I use all of my sick time, my compensated absences time is going to drop significantly. If I don't have, if I'm not able to take vacation or I don't take my sick time, my compensated absences is gonna go up for the next year because they have to plan on paying me out if I choose to leave.
I understand. I'll come back, I'll come into your office.
Okay, because I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I'm looking at past budget numbers and they don't really match here. So yeah, I'll come in another day and ask you.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I did not sign. That was it, just sign.
I do not know about you.
I'm about ready to start yawning. All right, supplies for court. We were right on the edge. No, wait, we went over. Up that. So office supplies for city court. We're also becoming part of the next century. As Jordan is requesting that we actually join Full Court, the state program of court systems, which every court uses.
So it's full court enterprise.
Full court,
Because we're
yeah.
currently on full court, which is the old system. She
Full-
wants us to bring us into the new system, which is called full court expense.
So our current stuff is not compatible with it. So we needed a new scanner and a new printer and a little bit of stuff to go with
Actually,
that.
we were able to reuse one of the printers that we have, it's compatible, but she also got a label printer on that too.
Oh, yeah.
To make sure that, everything looks professional coming from the court, so they're not handwriting addresses on envelopes.
Moving on up. To the east side.
So, for travel, that went up, but shouldn't that go down if the county's gonna help pay for it too?
That's also including her, you have to have travel as part of her.
Oh, yeah.
So state law requires that we pay actual travel expenses and actual mileage to 2 judges' conferences a year. It's actually in state law.
And
So
then
we have to cover that.
and then her travel to here
Yeah, and then the travel from here to Virginia City, or Virginia City here.
is also in there.
So, but if the county is gonna help do part of that, then how did you budget that?
So we calculated what Art spent for travel for conference last year. We have that, but then we took,
And Susie.
and Susie. And then, sorry,
Susie goes also.
so we have the overall whatever Art spent. Have that, cause we'll end up paying that half to the county. She's gonna turn all of her stuff in there, and then they'll bill us, and then we pay the county back for our half of her travel and stuff. Then we calculated, round trip from here to Virginia City and back is 29.2 miles, 29.6, whichever. We took that, did our mileage based on 0.63, right? 0.63?
0.65.
0.65.
655.
Is that standard or is that?
Yes.
Yes, that's our standard. And then multiplied that by 4 Mondays a month.
I think I might have thrown a couple extras in there.
Yeah, for extra appearances. So that's where that's at.
And Art is, so sorry, back to the compensated absence. So this is including Art's payout?
Yes.
Yes. And Nikki. Yeah, in this conversation, I gotta double check that. Okay. Okay. And these compensated absences are based on June 30. So now that we have a solid date of his departure, I can get that report that I did for you and bring it up to August, or bring it up to his endpoint, and I'll know exactly.
And for jury services, what do we pay
So
witness fees?
You have to pay your jurors.
jurors.
Yes,
Yes,
25?
I believe so. I would have to think, I think it changed, I think it rolled again this year, maybe a little bit with inflation, but yeah, you have to pay that.
Yes.
Mhm.
Not in the last.
No, so we average a jury trial about once every 3 years.
But we have to budget for it.
Yeah.
Please.
So court doesn't pay for itself?
Yeah.
What's that?
Court doesn't pay for itself?
What do you
No.
mean?
And it's against the law to tell them that they have to.
Okay.
They're not to generate. Revenue.
Just like the police department, we're not to generate revenue to be expected upon by the town.
But it's your duty as an American citizen to stand,
It's your constitution.
is it okay, sure.
Yeah, but by gosh, gosh, don't send them that check for jury service and hear about it. Or if they didn't get it.
All right, on to financial services. Salaries and wages, compensated absences again. Contributions, office supplies. Stretch that last year. Small items of equipment.
So what is the 40% increase for the office supplies? Just general office supplies? Or is it a new program?
No, not a new program.
Whose line is right in here?
210.
So everything has gone up in price this year, paper, everything has gone up, I mean,
And John, I think my computer went down.
oh, your new,
I had to get a
docking
new
station.
docking station already, so that was added in there. 'Cause that came in this fiscal year, it's already bought and paid for, but it still has to.
So freaking confusing.
Our file folders, everything.
And what do you buy with other purchase services for? In the financial services?
Oh my gosh, can I run blank?
390.
Blank.
So we used it for,
Well, and again, it's spread out like on the audit and those year-end reports, so part of that would be that, Karen. Probably the biggest portion is that.
and then didn't we use, no. I thought we used part of that for Great West when they were helping us with the ARPA, but maybe not. No, that was in the, or no. Okay, I'm highlighting that one.
For travel on this one, is that including you and another, like the deputy clerk?
On this one,
Yeah,
Financial
Yes.
services.
it's a
For
just
the-
in case.
for the clerk's conference and,
So
And
I
then,
marked other purchase services in both finance and payroll, and I'll do printouts for you guys so you can see what comes out of there.
and why does the auditor go up every year? Just because that's cost of everything?
all right, payroll.
And this is just insurance.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, wait.
So the auditing and accounting, why isn't that just rolled into one department? This is weird.
They want to see it broke out into the different accounts that it kind of affects. And I mean, they cover pretty much everything, but breaking it out like this shows that, okay, your finance account is paying into it, your payroll, your admin, water, sewer. those are the biggies. I could have hit court with it as well. And that was just my choice because they don't spend that much time on it.
Okay.
So in your salary, Ginger, in Black Mountain, is it possible just to show you and then on one piece of paper, show all the ways that your salary is paid?
Yeah, like all these different department breakdowns.
Yeah. Would that help?
Like what percentages of my wages are coming out of each account?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We calculate.
Black Mountain is pretty good. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of reports that I can run. So, I mean, anytime you guys want to see a breakdown of something, let me know.
Okay, payroll, office supply. We went over, well, I guess.
I had to buy checks, Nikki, and that
Oh,
was.
okay, and
a
that'll
biggie,
last
and
this.
I won't have that this year.
You told me that. And the equipment piece, small items of equipment.
I don't think I'm gonna need anything.
Oh, okay. That's right.
So we said this year. That's what it's so freaking confusing, because it's, what are we talking about, this year or last year?
So, I'm sorry.
No, you're good, I just. So the 350 is checks and other stuff.
Right. Paper, pens, paper
So
clips.
so it's dropped, yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so it's dropped.
But I dropped it because I had to purchase checks.
Right,
They're already purchased, so
so that's
That'll
why
not-
22, 23 is higher than this year.
this year,
I get it,
yeah.
okay.
I mean, if I don't need something, I'm not gonna
Gotcha.
try not to budget.
And we don't write a lot of them.
Yeah.
In payroll,
Now that I look
there's not a
back-
lot of payroll checks. Now that there's these.
Brandy has to have a paper check, you know.
Way to single her out. She's not the only one.
We do it that way in the house too.
Sorry, Brandy.
So the same thing, we're gonna look at other purchase services, have a printout of that, or do you know what that one's in payroll?
No.
All I think is we're just gonna yell if we're not getting to the bank today.
Okay.
2 weeks ago when she gave her check.
Printout,
How
printout for that
often
one.
do you get your mail?
All right, elections. So
We're probably not having one, but I had to budget just in case.
where did we put, or is it in this fiscal year? I thought that was part of it, was, local government review. Don't we have to put that on the ballot? No, not until spring.
Last time, that was money that came to
We can levy mills for that.
Okay.
Does that, am I off kilter? Is that this fiscal year? 23, 24?
I think, yeah.
I thought, but it's, part of it starts next year.
Yeah, no, I think it's 2024. It's gonna be 10 years, right?
Right, so does it,
So it's 2024.
is 24, 25?
24, 25.
Yes.
Okay, yes, because then I believe we can levy 3 mills for that. But that would be, we need to levy those with next year's budget.
Gave you preliminary budget and I'll find it again. Because for that event, part of it started in March of this year, of this fiscal year.
But we haven't paid out. We have nothing to pay out yet.
I'll make myself a note.
Yeah,
Because that was MSU's at the summit.
Okay.
They gave us a preliminary budget of, and a line, and a timeline of when you would need those monies.
These,
So I need to,
that would make me happy.
but they totally under
Under budgeted?
on some items, and I
Oh, okay.
double check.
Because my big thing is if I need to get something in there.
Yeah. Okay. All right, so elections, planning services, this,
That was the first thing. No. it's
No.
not planning board.
that's what's budgeted.
Is that for forest? That can't possibly.
No, it's, like if we have to hire, an engineering firm to engineer something for us during the year. Or if, grant writers can come out of that.
Okay.
That is, that line item is kind of a what if.
But that isn't Great West Engineering, right?
It does not have to be, no.
No, it can be any,
But can it be Great West Engineering?
Yes.
can
So I can pick engineering services,
For what?
whatever I want.
no,
Am I just locked in Great West or?
no.
You can look it up.
You can get it out.
Just curious.
Depends on what it is. That's another, make a note so that we can check our agreement with Great West for engineering services.
Hear me out, I am not saying anything bad.
Just question.
I just not saying anything bad about their company. Just,
I'm hearing you.
we pay a lot for little.
Technically, you can find a bid cheaper than Great West Engineering. And you can bring that to the mayor and the council. Yes, you have that ability to do so.
What if they're not cheaper, but they're better?
Right.
And you don't have to bid it until it hits,
80,000.
thank you.
Does it help?
All right, legal.
This is different than James legal, right?
This is different than James legal.
No, the previous
Well-
one was criminal.
This is civil.
This
The
is civil.
civil.
So it does include James.
Where's that?
And
And that's also doing that because your caseload is higher.
no, this doesn't have anything to do with court. This is like civil matters, like ordinances, writing ordinances, or helping us with that.
And how long is the contract again?
And this is also where we put if the town is involved in suit.
Yes.
So-
Retain other legal, like we did Sean Morris with the Armitage Alley.
So what is that budget?
Right there.
15,000.
For James and for?
Yes.
If we have a contract for somebody else?
Because we aren't foreseeing,
Don't say that out loud.
But
Is that real wood?
again, it's kind of a what if. What if we get sued and need to retain counsel?
right.
And that's not a whole lot, if that should happen.
Yeah.
And technically, we're just being precautionary in that sense. That's what we want to do.
Let's hope we have a 1920 kind of year.
That would be nice.
I was just looking at that number. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, like, oh.
Are we done paying out for the Armitage Alley for that guy?
I'm just waiting just on a final, I think the time should be about after the 30 days is over again. I think this was our
Yeah.
final 30 days that we're waiting on.
For him to come back?
I don't know how many dang times you file something and the other party has
It was-
30 days, then the other.
They have 30 days to respond, then you have 30 days to respond to
Their
them.
response.
Wonderful court system, guys.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
like,
how it works.
it's crazy,
Yes.
but I'll
Eric?
check into it.
Where? I think maybe I know this question. Where's the money for that loss? It's paid off.
General fund?
General fund, and initially they borrowed from water, but that's been paid back.
Okay.
They initially borrowed
I
25,000.
never got paid off.
They initially borrowed 25,000 from water,
So
and
will
that was
this
paid
be,
back annually.
will this be an ongoing thing? That we respond with?
No,
Taking it to court?
No,
Or water and sewer, just curious.
there's just a minor.
I'm all in on
Still left.
I'm all in.
Yeah, there's a minor technicality, but the judge has made the overall decision.
Right.
They're just playing the technical game now, just well, we don't really like this, so we need clarification on this. So that's the game they're playing now.
And I'm not griping or none of that, because I'm all in. It's not rally.
Judge Berger's already made his decision and they missed their overall appeal time to appeal the big part of the case, basically. They're just doing the clarifications essentially, is the easy way to say it, on that case.
How does that benefit you? Wouldn't that almost negatively benefit you? Because then you have to maintain.
Well, at that point, it's not about, it's about the access, you know? I mean,
Okay, we're off topic.
yeah, as a matter of fact, I would.
Off topic. Back to budget. Or else we're never getting out of here.
facilities.
Facilities.
It was like the one question.
So you can ask
It's
it.
cool, no.
So facilities, that's salaries and wages is part.
That's all public works.
Oh, yeah.
Where do we start?
We just want 'em.
Go through salaries, compensation, contributions. I don't deal with it. This awesome lady here does.
See you awesome lady.
Okay.
I mean, I honestly, Ginger, and I don't mean to like put you up there, but I would know where to go with
It's
this.
okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it's perfectly fine, Eric.
Right.
What are you buying with the other purchase services?
Yeah.
$500?
700.
700
Wow,
and up.
seven.
We raised it up to $700.
Yeah. Went up.
For
I know.
facilities, that could be,
Just
That's one door lock, give you guys an idea, if we have to replace a door lock, that's one door lock. Just saying.
Services.
All services.
Purchase services.
Facilities, no travel? No?
No, not on this one. If they travel for water and sewer.
yeah, and that's, yeah, if we're traveling, it's for a water and sewer, you know, convention, or we're doing a class.
There's no like
There are
park,
hours or
there's
all
no
that.
parks party or something
There's
somewhere?
not. Maybe, yeah.
Oh, weed control has some travel in it for Eric.
This is gonna be coming.
Weed control, where's the weed control?
It's
My
further
file is
up,
full.
it's a couple pages back,
We ain't out there, but we're gonna.
sorry. It's for facilities.
Oh, really? Sorry.
So basically,
I know, but why is it not being utilized?
You have to,
Sorry, I'm not being.
I'll tell you why it's not being
utilize.
No, no,
No,
it's got nothing to do with it now. I am no longer allowed to spray weeds under the county's license.
which is,
So this winter, I have to obtain that license so that the town can spray under my license.
Why can't
That's
they just make
why
the county pay? Or why can't they just
the
make the
county
county
don't
spray?
roll like that.
They can't just come
They're
spray
not
it out.
helping out
No.
at all.
The county doesn't like to share anymore.
They do not help out one iota, matter of fact, they close their eyes.
Then why do they have a damn budget? Or what, I mean,
It's not.
so, yes, Eric's got, we changed that budget so that we can now do that.
I got shut down this year for spraying under their license, which is,
what, if somebody tattles on
it's
you?
a blessing, really.
No, it's
About
not.
it. Because I can just take care of it, we'll take care of it ourselves. It's gonna,
But it
on
wasn't, it wasn't.
pretense of me getting employees.
Tattle. And then the county, it's kind of like the roads. They,
We kind of used to do old handshake stuff, and now most of the time when we ask for our old handshake kind of stuff, we're a liability. So, wasn't that what you were told when you went to
The
go?
doors have completely closed shut for Ennis.
how is your and the twin and they're open?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Can we,
City.
I don't know. That's something maybe,
Can we not play nice?
We can.
play dirty, but
we're not. We
I
won't.
guess that's a discussion for another.
Yeah.
IT,
How about with salaries and wages? Why don't we have, if we're expecting to get 2 more workers,
so 40% of public works comes out of general fund and 60% comes out of water and sewer.
And it's split amongst facilities, streets, parks.
so that's located somewhere else then.
we always try to get 2 more people. So that would be 3 and me. That's what it's always been since I've been here.
So a total of 4?
Yes.
There, IT services.
All right.
Are you done with facilities?
Yeah, I thought we were.
I'm good.
Gas and utilities here, shoot up about this one, or propane. Cost last year was,
Where'd you go?
I just remember.
Oh,
Yeah.
We did shoot, put another $1,000 on that. This year's propane went really quick,
Oh, yeah. Ours too. All men in the store.
you know,
Crazy.
so we got it.
we don't get a government discount. So weird.
So why is salary and wages going up 32% for IT services?
Because of the more technology we get, the more I have to do. Now, keep in mind, part of that is paid from water and sewer also, because I maintain all their wireless links between all the pump houses and all that communications between the pump houses for the water system that talks to turn the pumps on and turns the pumps on.
Which I'll, with the installation of that antenna, that's good.
I missed your question, Karen.
I
So
sleep
I
all
just
night.
wondered why the salaries, the wages were going up for IT.
More hours, more wages.
And my next question is, why aren't you a contractor instead of an employee? Wouldn't that save the general fund, compensated absence, insurance?
Because I'm an employee of the town, they cannot pay me under state law, under Montana code annotated, they cannot pay me as a private contractor also to do the IT work. I have to be paid at my overtime wage, because it's wages earned, because I'm already an employee. They cannot pay me as a private contractor because I'm an employee here.
So IT services that's all you?
That's all me.
And
That's all overtime.
That's paid at my overtime rate, yes, which is still very cheap for you guys. If you were to contract out on IT, you're looking at, Sheriff's Department pays $85 an hour for their IT, just for their help desk.
But they don't pay insurance or all the associated.
You don't pay insurance out of that. There's no insurance out of this.
Other than liability.
Right, other than liability, but you don't pay my insurance out of this because that comes out of the police department. That's why it has to be paid at time and a half.
And how come you still have telephone costs on here?
Because that's where all of our telephone got moved to. We moved everything over to IT.
And how come it's still budgeted in every other department?
Look at the line. How much is
There
it?
should be a line in every
It
other
should
department.
it should be a zero.
It should be a zero and a line in every other department. So to keep everything together, they used to split it up amongst all the departments, but to make it just easier for budgeting purposes, and since we combined everything into one system, we just put it all under there. It's the same thing with the email and workspace. We have to pay, Google stopped giving government free access to the G Suite, so we have to pay for that every single month. And we pay per email address for that.
So you don't have to use them anymore.
You don't have to use.
You didn't want to use Google Suite.
So our only other option that we could use would be Microsoft, because we have to meet government retention policies, and those are the only two that the state will certify to meet government retention policies, and Microsoft is more expensive.
so you do all the IT services.
Yep.
And how many hours a week do you work?
So I work 43 hours a week for the police department before I hit overtime. And then IT is as needed.
So you get paid IT, like you're doing IT when you're doing police officer work?
No.
Nope, completely separate on the timesheet, completely separate portion of the timesheet. It's totally separate. Now, if I'm here and they need something posted on the webpage, yes, I just do it, but IT doesn't get billed for it. It just goes, I'm just here, so I just do it.
What's other purchase services? What's that used for?
So other purchase services, so we have, let's see, so that one is phone, other purchase services, is that one is one that we zeroed, no, that's contracted. So other purchase services is, that one was 24 last year. So data processing, email, telephone. Other purchase services is the lock systems and all the antivirus systems for the computers in the town. Because we also, because we have personally identifiable information on the network, we have to meet state requirements, which I'm certified through the state to have all that on the network. But we have to have a specific antivirus programs. We have to have ones that are approved by the state to make sure that that information stays protected.
Oh. Okay. Insurance.
Machinery equipment on the bottom of that one, that is replacement equipment. So every year, I have a 3-year cycle on batteries for the UPSs that are at every pump house, that are out everywhere. Every year to make sure that our equipment stays running properly. That's part of it. It's also to replace equipment that's old. Our camera system, that's on a 3-year replacement cycle too, where we replace the cameras. Because after a while, the weather just beats the living crap out of them, especially the outside ones. So that's all part of the machinery and equipment. Every year, it seems like we end up replacing a switch at one point or another. Last one we replaced, Public Works paid for it because it was one of theirs. But, everything wears out after time, unfortunately. So we just have to budget to plan and replace that.
Anything else in IT? Or we are on to law enforcement?
Taking a break?
Do you need a break? She's like, please, okay.
I would love a break.
Back by 8.
Okay. Boy, did I leave my keys in my car?
What you doing tomorrow?
Well, now that it's gonna rain on Sunday, probably getting up at 5 a.m.
I'll go to the game tomorrow, at least get used.
I
So
know, I
I'll
have to.
try out tomorrow, I'm not back until Tuesday, so. You guys can't get to it or any order or whatever, I'll try to charge it, I have to, but then I'll switch it. So.
Oh, yeah, it's bad. It's real bad. Of course,
Yeah, we just go midnight or later.
Lost says I can only work 6 hours.
I got your email. Do you want electronic or paper copies or both? Paper? Okay.
Well,
Maria's.
I have a feeling everybody would prefer it from, I prefer paper because I can write notes on it. So, but if I get it electronically, I'll print it out anyway, so.
If I'm printing one, I may as well print.
I have one already. You're talking about the road policy and
And the zone.
section 11. I have that already. So I need another 6 copies.
And I gave Richard a copy of the zoning yesterday. I gave Lyndon a copy of the zoning.
Okay.
So,
I mean, our city hall is judges, so they want to go those out, and they're like big, thick,
Yeah.
orange ones.
Perfect.
So they're all
I
close
think
order.
Maria's coming in tomorrow, so I can get her started on that. We'll still divide them artists.
Arts old binders, they
I
didn't,
already
made
stole
them
some
say,
of them.
yeah. But the rest of them are on cold storage right now.
Yeah, I'm gonna need them.
so we have a meeting on the 12th. We'll kick off the, road policy and stuff. With a couple of, I think it would be best, I'm not sure how to do this other than if it's transmitted electronically, but it'd be nice if they all had chance to review the current one before we go into that meeting. That makes
The
sense.
current growth policy,
Yeah.
certainly.
So.
So that's my.
If you print the copy of it, I can, that's great.
What's that?
I want to get that
Oh,
in
man.
advance of the meeting.
So,
If I hand it to them at a
If I
meeting,
get a hold of you and say they're ready, tell them to come in.
The other night that we picked up, it's just like, it just started.
just send me an email because I'll wait to hear from you in case something comes up and you know.
Yeah, no, it's,
Just let me know.
it's past me.
Send everybody know.
They got 6.
So policy and 5.
I need 6 of the binders.
Okay, they're thick binders, they're the 4-inch.
Way too
No.
big. Road policy is, well, have a copy.
Did he have some of the smaller ones too?
He might have, but the ones that I know of, that I made them pull apart were the 4-inch or the 3-inch ones, because those were all his judge's school ones.
Okay, well, I stole.
There might be
of
some
those.
that are in the closet too, I don't
But
know.
I think we have some smaller ones out in Ennis also.
Yeah,
I'll check tomorrow. We'll,
It's pretty
don't
tough
worry,
to
we'll
like
deal with it.
haul one of them back and forth and all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah, no, I think an inch one, inch and a half is probably what I get.
Easily.
For the road policy?
Well, road policy and the
Zoning.
zoning.
Section 11 of.
And you want the current one or the proposed one?
Of the zoning, of
Yeah.
section 11?
Yeah.
The current one.
The current Title 11. Okay.
That's what's in effect, right? Whatever's in effect right now.
Okay, so I'll get you the current. And then has a copy of the proposed that he was looking at.
So it's double-sided and it's only 3/4 inch.
Yeah. Okay.
So the zoning section, the section 11 is probably like 1
But
point.
I'm gonna get you, yeah, I'm gonna
Inch and
get
a
you
half.
binders. We'll get binders, because then as you need to add or change things out or whatever, That will work. 6 of those. Got it. And sorry I didn't get back to you. I was meant to and.
Smokers always makes me
You got my email?
I did. So I will
And
caution everybody.
did you understand what I was saying with that? Is if we can put, you can put something out to it, that's fine, but you can't have a discussion over it, because then it's a public meeting for more than 2, or what, you guys have 7, right?
7 including.
So 7 including you, so that would be, so you'd have to have a majority, you'd have to have a majority, so anything 4 or over, you can't.
Better than time.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I need to waylay you
I will alert
tomorrow.
everyone to that.
What's that? I need you to go out to the Connex tomorrow.
What?
Right, you can send it out, say, hey, check this out, I like this, that's fine. But don't start the back and forth, because
So
then,
that I
then
don't
when that
forget.
comes up, then it's a public meeting, and then there's a whole mess of issue.
Okay, got it.
Okay, appreciate that.
They might have a little ink print of some court thing, but it'll be okay. We reuse everything.
All my officers are just reused. Yeah.
Wow, it's
Yeah,
been a
everything in my office was, except for the big tall filing cabinet, was Moonlight building, when they got rid of other things. And then the big tall filing cabinet was Lucky.
Tootsie Rolls.
I don't think anything here is.
Hey, I got the right to you, please, that your set my keys at home.
You see nothing? 'Cause we're not even halfway. Is there a lot on the last page? I remember there was not a lot on the last page. No, there wasn't a lot on the last page. Never mind.
I'm good, thank you.
You want a lolly?
No, I got a lap full of Tootsie Rolls that I'm hiding.
She's hiding it over there.
Tootsie Roll? I was afraid we were gonna be late for getting firewood, so we skipped lunch, so I'm feeling very peckish off of my cheese stick and beef jerky. Oh wait,
You're almost done.
they have 1 minute.
She goes to the gardens for the door.
Oh.
Well, at 8 o'clock, it's my turn to smoke. And you don't feel it.
Eric, what do you think? Smoke break down at Willie's?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Oh, where you
Let's go.
on the rocks.
We all saw how well that went when we were painting.
Good time. That sounds good.
You know
Half a
what
White
I
Claw.
do?
What?
Eat straws.
Eat straws?
For my Blackberry Sunday, I gotta have one in the morning. It's a green stick,
But it's a straw.
but it's a straw.
I'm making that face with her.
That's awesome.
Gross.
It's the best thing I ever invented for
Where's Tina?
Blackberries.
Tina.
I want to keep salad on top, but
We're out of towels in the men's room, and for some reason, men can't figure out how to change the towels in the men's room.
You didn't know where the keys were today.
In
We
the
could have them
drawer.
back there. The one by his office, I don't have it.
These
That's
are
your public works master.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, he's like, I got this now.
I wanted to change it, there's none other than 6, so I just gave up. Because I had other things to do.
All right, law enforcement. Oh, wait. Tina's almost back. Law enforcement.
Alright. So salary and wages, we added a little bit more overtime, because the sheriff's department's complaining that we don't do, enough overtime. So, we added a little bit in there in case we do have a need for the overtime. It is part of our policy manual that we do try to limit overtime. It's actually written in policy that we try to limit overtime. So compensated absences, employee contributions, office supplies, that one is exactly what that says, office supplies, folders, tape, generally stuff we get from Lee's, office supplies. Operating supplies is pretty much everything else we do. There's no real big change on that one. That is just, so this year we'll be replacing Matt's computers, so that comes out of operating supplies. Because none of our current laptops are compatible with Windows 11, which will be coming out here soon, so we have to start replacing that. So Matt's computer will get replaced out of that one. And that also goes for anything that we need during the year, if we have to replace our spike strips, if we have to replace any equipment, any new equipment that we're looking at. Uniforms come out of that. That is a big expenditure. Vest costs us $1,200. And that's not one of these super high-end ones. It's one of the good ones, but it's not the best that you can get.
This is all operating supplies?
That's all operating supplies. It's pretty much what we do to go on a daily basis that we need for supplies, equipment, boots, anything that, like if we want anything, extra for the car, like a shovel, or we want, we buy a new snow broom for the car, stuff like that. That's all out of operating supplies. Gas, fuel, oil, pretty self-explanatory. That went up because, as we all know, gas prices are going up. And unfortunately, that's the price of doing business for us, is we do have to drive around control. Telephone and telegraph, our internet, but our telephones and our data plans did go up a little bit this year. We also pay, the mayor is the chief law enforcement officer of the town by statute. So the police department also pays for her cell phone out of that to make sure that we can get a hold of her if we need to. Repair and maintenance services is exactly that. If we need to send something out, every year we have a radio that we send out to our technician that tunes it to make sure it's up to specs. And we just rotate every year. A different radio goes out to him so that it's on about a 3 to 4 year basis. We get those radios done to make sure they're working, because that is our lifeline. Motor vehicle repair and maintenance. Last year we got hit with that bad. It seemed like everything decided to break at once. Now that we have everything fixed, hopefully that will be back down, and we'll be good where we're at. We did up it a little bit because, unfortunately, parts, no matter what you look at, are still costing more. We do a lot of the maintenance ourselves on the vehicles. We do our own oil changes. We check our fluids once a week. We have a check sheet that we go through to make sure everything on the vehicles is operating properly. So we don't pay any extra for that. It's just the supplies that we buy. Travel, that is basically in case we have to pick up and haul a prisoner. Most of our travel comes out of our restricted fund, which is our training fund. But the travel is if we have to go pick up a prisoner, if we have to go somewhere, we just budget $500 in case something comes up where we have to spend a night or we need meals while we're gone. Other purchase services, that is all of our contract services. So we have to pay the state access fees and per transaction fees for our computers. That's the big one that comes out of there, but that also includes what we call TLO, which is an investigative program that gives us all sorts of information on people, lets us find people, reverse directory phone numbers. It's based off the credit bureau. It's exceptionally helpful and saves us a whole lot of time. It includes all of our antivirus program. The IT does not pay for our antivirus. We pay for that out of that line item because the computers are separate. Those are the big expenses out of there, but it's basically just a monthly expenses. Police department hiring, we didn't put anything in there this year. Contract services, that is for the sheriff's department for last year. We pay them out of this year budget, so it makes it easier to budget for. And you got insurance.
So it went up, it doubled because of your extra officer?
Which part? The contract services?
Insurance.
Insurance, all insurance went up, liability insurance went up across the board. It did not go up because of the second officer. It went up because liability, Ginger said that earlier, liability across the town went up.
Liability is based on wages.
There you go.
Is the 8,500 accurate for, with the new MOU?
There is no.
There is no
current-
MOU.
They're not.
No. There's an attorney general's opinion that makes it very clear that if the towns have to have at least one police officer, which shall be designated the chief of police. After that, if they don't have the services, the county sheriffs have to cover. Because you pay the same taxes for the sheriff's department as they do in McAllister, as they do over in the golf course. So you deserve the same services the sheriff's department provides. So he tried balking his way through it, and the city attorney shut him down very quickly.
Dispatch is separate, and that's where we got our number from, because
Yeah, and basically that number that's on there every year in the past is paying for dispatch services. It's not paying for sheriff's services. It's only dispatch services, because we do use above and beyond from the dispatch services what like the ambulance service would use or what the fire department would use. We use other services from them. They do our warrant confirmations, they do our warrant entries, and they no longer will be doing our criminal histories and our driver's histories. Matt and I are certified on that now.
Okay, so the 8,500 is just for dispatch.
It's just for dispatch services, yes. And that was actually for last year.
And that we're using in-house, we are currently doing our own dispatch.
No,
no.
no, they still have to dispatch us because they can't cut our services because you pay a 911 tax. Everybody else pays a 911 tax. They have to dispatch us. So I honestly don't know where the sheriff thought he was going with just canceling that MOU because he's losing his dispatch service money. And Matt and I became certified with CGIN, which is the state's Criminal Justice Information Network, to run our criminal histories and our driver's histories, which is what we used to rely heavily on dispatch for. With our new computer system, we do everything through the computer. So it used to be we'd have to give the driver's license, the driver's information, the driver's license plate information over the air, and they would give it all back to us. We are doing everything autonomously now on the computer, but dispatch can still see everything we do, so they know that we're okay. But so we're taking an extreme load off of them, and by us doing the criminal histories and the driver's histories, that's one less thing that the dispatchers have to do.
So why isn't there a contract service for 21, 22? I mean,
That I can't answer.
Sorry, I can't.
We've had the contract services in since this current contract that he just canceled as of July 30th or June 31st was started in 2018. So I can't tell you.
Oh, no,
I think it
good
was
question.
Yes, I'm like.
We've been paying them since 2018, and I know that.
On this budget, it says it was 4,400. I think it was just this.
And that was, and it was dependent upon how many officers we had. So it was 1 mil per full-time officer or a half mil per part-time officer. For a while, we only had Ashley, who was part-time. So we only paid $1.5 million. And for 1 year, we had just me. So then we only paid for mine. And then when we had Matt, we paid for 2. So it did vary from year to year to year.
So sorry, why is that the contracted services going up so much if we're not?
Because of the bill, this budget is paying for last year's. So the contract ended June 31st. This budget year, we pay for last year's services because the way the contract was written, the end of the contract, we take the full-time officers with part-time officers, and we take the mill levy, and that's what it is, the mill levy, and that's how we calculate it. That's how we agreed, and that's how it was done.
So this salary, 119,000 is out of the general fund.
Correct.
So then where does your mill fit in, your 10 mills?
So that is on the income side, and that just goes into the police department, so.
So it does come into, that mill will come into general fund
For the police
for
department,
the police department.
just like the 5,000 from the school comes into the law enforcement budget, in the general fund for law
But on the
enforcement.
budget, I have to show, the state budget, I have to show it on two separate areas.
And also, how come you're paying for a phone? Or how come you have telephone and it's not IT?
So we have our cell phones
Oh,
that are paid for, and we also have data modems in all the cars, so our computers work. So that's what those services are for.
Everybody in this town has my personal number.
Why do you think we have work phones, dude?
I believe you were offered and said you didn't want to pack two phones.
I know.
secretary.
I know.
Don't worry, I have
I don't even know.
You
Like
want
you-
it?
You want it?
Poor
Might be
Eric.
written on the bathroom wall too. I see one of the bars, I'm sure.
All right.
So does Ennis still have no night coverage? Are you guys still?
Correct, we only have 2 officers, that's all we can cover. We can only cover shifts during the days right now.
Well, plus that's where the call volume is.
Call volume is over 85% daytime calls, between
So
6
then-
a.m. and 6
So
p.m.
that's where you're counting on the county to cover.
That's where the
your
county's
night calls.
required to cover, yes.
Is that every evening?
Yeah.
So who was that out there by the cemetery at like 11 o'clock?
So the cemetery's out of city limits, I have no idea.
That's sure.
No.
That's the sheriff's department.
Okay.
So,
But what were they doing?
It was just like watching traffic go by.
Oh my gosh.
I'm looking for somebody.
You know, in the town that are going too fast.
Amazing. All right, are we good to land use inspection?
Then what is
This
this?
is zoning.
Where is she?
Yeah, literally everybody else is.
Where are these
Isn't-
people whose budgets we're talking about?
She's out of town right now, no? I thought she left for something.
So,
Yeah, we don't even talk about you, Eric.
Yeah, at least she doesn't get a budget period.
Salary.
Well, hang on 1 second here. To make my life easier, there is a computer budgeted in there because she has been putting me off. She's now 5 years. We try to recycle computers every 3 years because she doesn't want to change. But so I need that computer for her because I'm tired of my IT wages will go down because I'm tired of fixing hers. Just saying. So do me a favor, if you're gonna do anything, put that in there, okay? Thank you.
So that's not budgeted in here?
It is.
Is that, what is that?
Where it is, that would be Ginger's thing.
Oh, well, yeah, hopefully Ginger will remember, right?
Is there's no
Office
supplies?
supplies? John, I think I forgot.
Did you forget one of them? Data processing services? You might have.
I need to.
Oh, did we put it on, no, we didn't put it on record. No, because she doesn't use it for record.
No, she's got a
She has a
state
state
computer
computer
for
for-
court.
Uh-oh.
Computer. Thanks for bringing that up.
I'm just tired of fixing the old one, to be honest.
I'm Cuban.
What, how much do you think that'll be?
When I say 2,500 for the whole thing, because what we're doing is we're switching. In the past, we had desktops for everybody and then laptops for everybody. But with the new technology, everybody gets a laptop with a docking station, so they can literally just unplug it and take the laptop with them. So that way, we're not paying for 2 computers, we're not paying for 2 antiviruses, everything's going back to 1. So she's getting the same laptops that we have up front here. I keep it the same, we have a good discount from government at Dell. And so she'll get basically the same setup that Ginger and the deputy clerk have back in her office. And then she'll get rid of that old laptop she's got too, which is just a pain in the butt and pain in my side. And then she'll have just one she can take with her if she goes somewhere else. So if she goes to training or whatever, she can still have all of her documents and all the computer.
Like a time clock punch card.
So
We looked at Black Mountain software to do that. And that's another add-on. It's kind of like the loss of invoicing.
Can't you just buy one on Amazon and put it in there and then you see hours worked?
You can do apps, and she's got an app on her phone that she uses and then shows me.
So if we were gonna do it to make it fair and equal across the board, my suggestion would be is we do Black
Black
Mountain. And here's why. Not only would it be fair and equal across the board, so everybody's using it, you can set it up so people can punch in from their phone if they want, but it logs the IP address, location, all of that information is part of that. The other thing is that the time card automatically imports into payroll. So therefore Ginger doesn't have to hand enter anything. And then you can also auto-generate the report to send over to the mayor so she can approve it. So she doesn't have to come in and sign timesheets anymore. So it would reduce our workload on payroll significantly. Now Ginger hates me for saying that because I'm introducing something new and, you know,
How much would that, we're basically the century.
Brittany and I looked at it 2 or 3 years ago. They were doing demos of a whole bunch of stuff, including the invoicing and stuff. I honestly don't remember, but it was not cheap. More than that. I want to say on the upwards of 8 to 10, but I'm not 100% sure.
Per year.
Yeah, that's for the initial setup, and then the maintenance on it was I think like 4,500. Don't quote me on it, but it was something.
I don't know if it was that much, but.
Okay, and it might have been for everything we were looking at too. But I mean, if we were gonna do it, I would say let's streamline it across the board instead of just picking and choosing. You know, why go backwards?
Sure.
Keep going forward.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
But then who checks the IP address?
So it actually logs it, so anybody with administrator access can literally see, like, she punched in from here, from, you know, an AT&T cell phone or from a Verizon cell phone. And if you turn location services on the app, it will actually drop a pin and you can actually look and see it. And the other part with it is you can break it out into different categories. So if she's working on 3 different projects for zoning, she can literally go in there and say, from this time to this time I worked on this, from this time to this time I worked on this, and from this time to this time I worked on this. So it would line item break down what project she's working on essentially. And Public Works can do it too, so you know, if they wanted to. I'm not saying they need to. I know he's gonna give me a dirty look too. But we could break it down for anybody like that.
But then you'd know, you would actually be able to track
Right.
hours of.
Yes.
Just say, if we're gonna have time cards, we're all.
And like for IT, I wouldn't have to hand type everything that I'm doing. I could just literally just line item it in that program for what projects I was working on at the time, instead of just literally, because all I do is just type it all up and submit it for my timesheet. So it would actually be more automated for IT too.
Wait, is Susie an hourly employee?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
Anyway, yeah.
All right, I have
Okay,
Black Mountain
we
Road
digress.
cost.
Anyway, this budget's going up $2,500
For a computer.
for computer.
Land use? Is that where we are?
Mhm.
Yes. Guys, in there for professional services, the 350, that is forest, and
Wait,
you got 350 and 356, both, professional and consultant. So forest is the 356 number, and the 350 number is flood administrator.
And what's 350? And he's not.
Flood administration. And that's Jonathan, but I think Cody's doing most of it. Cody Mercer's doing most of it now out of Great West. We don't have a lot of action there. Floodplain administrator. Under 350. Forest.
Which we are required to have.
Under 356.
Why did travel more than double?
Susie went to she didn't budget enough last year. So we went over.
like a lot.
That's just that on that.
No
Eric,
others.
go to the streets.
He's like, well,
We're there.
it's like great quarter comments.
Everybody's been saying that.
It's nice. Not having that huge.
Salaries and wages, that's calculated at our 40% of, for 4. It's compensated, contributions, more for fuel. It's pretty straightforward. Wait, yep, we have signs coming. So we did the,
That's new this year.
That's a new add-on this year, just, the signs always have come out of basically wherever we can get it out of road and street maintenance. But with all this going on in town, and then 95% of the signposts in town actually legitimately by law need to be replaced.
We get a good windstorm, we lose 4 or 5 of them at a time. No, it's not drunk driving around, hitting them all. It's, I mean, last year, I think when we had that windstorm, we lost about 5 of them in town.
So,
3 of them were ours.
and also the posts themselves are supposed to be breakaway posts, all out now.
Is that enough in there to cover that?
That's enough to keep me busy for a year.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that, because I really didn't know where to start that out at. So we kind of just set that there.
That makes sense.
So signs, supplies, yeah, that's the new one. Gas, oil, fuel, that's all the same. The repair maintenance, what, you know, you can see that one, that's a pretty big
Yeah.
jump there, but from 0 to 40,000, I'm honestly blown away that was 0. Like, how did that?
And that's for like your work trucks?
Yeah, just basic, no district things, district things.
So it's $55,000.
The grader.
Those 3 categories there, it wasn't in the current budget.
Honestly, I'm shocked.
Oh,
Shocked that I
The-
had that 0 last year.
yeah.
And I'm wondering if that wasn't for part of the purchase
He did
for
it.
the truck.
Yeah,
plow.
he gave that up last year for the purchase of the truck.
The plow.
Yeah.
Which you see down at the bottom was $56,000.
Right.
So that was a trade-off to get the plow truck, the plow dump truck. For that 1 year.
So where's the, would that be also be used funds to fix the grader too? Or is that already happened?
I think it's time to start looking for a great grader. Not one that caught on fire and got parked 12 years ago.
I think caught on fire.
Caught on fire again.
And is what,
At least.
1965?
So we did 2 roads with it
Or
last year.
67.
Just put you where this is at. We did 2 roads, put 5 gallons of oil in it, and we have 2 gallons left. 2 roads, that means the motor is probably pretty shot.
What is the guesstimate? I mean, that's way
Yeah.
more than,
$250,000.
more than 56,000.
I mean, you could probably pick up a smaller grader on the, a lot of the Sheridan twin, they all get off the military auction for a grader. It's 30 vehicles. I don't think you have to be too crazy about it.
Maybe 30?
I'm not even, honestly.
That one has no.
course,
Well, we didn't have motor vehicle repair in the budget. So it got added this year because it needs to be. Water and sewer was paying
so
everything.
we lost one engine, one transmission last year.
Bigger trucks. Check oil maybe.
Actually,
Hmm.
I've never seen anybody more strict about checking oil than Kyle. Exactly. Yeah. Any questions?
What are your other purchase
Other road
services?
is- What's that?
I'll ask Ginger. I'll have him pulled out, the other purchase services. Since we're doing it for everybody. I can't remember what we did. That was like forever ago.
That one's hard to remember because it's like miscellaneous
What's the catch-alls?
Yeah,
here and there.
so if I need staff fix something and I need an engineer to come look at my bridge that we're digging right next to last year. Other purchase services. Something like that.
Okay.
Eric, the next one, I don't know why it's even in there. There was something in 2019, 20.
Okay.
Sidewalks.
Cool. Sidewalks, we're on sidewalks. We need to repair in front of the downtown park, the little park. the Plastic bumpy things,
Handicap plates.
handicap plates. They have to be replaced. The old ones have been torn up and now it's all cast iron. So you're gonna end up cutting that section of sidewalk out, put it back in. This has to be done. The state's already contacted me about it.
But haven't you already got an estimate on those? So I think that's what he was working on for budget, was an estimate he got that done.
Answer me this, if they're for handicap, why is somebody in a wheelchair trying to roll up a bumpy?
It's for the blind people, it's not for the, it's not for that, it's so the blind people know where the
It don't
curve
make
is.
sense to me.
See?
It's for handicap, you're limiting a whole genre of handicap.
Well, it's not the government regulation.
Yeah.
Trip has.
Yep, it's just something that has to be done.
I don't mind, I think it would help where the sidewalk has to roll.
I would.
Wheelchair, I wouldn't want bumpy nubs to try and roll it.
Make you stronger, yeah.
Free massage at every roll.
Anyway.
It's getting late.
Telephone, telephone, I don't know nothing about that either. Weed control. So the only thing added to weed control is $500 at grounds and maintenance, and that would be to purchase a tow behind sprayer for alleys.
Where the hell are you? Yeah.
He's already, he went,
Weed control, because everything else
Oh,
is.
okay.
yeah.
So the rest of it stays the same, but that's actually gonna come into play more with the license. Fucking, you know,
How much it's gonna cost you to get it?
Hey, Eric, you gave me this before you found out you were gonna have to get certified. Is this gonna need to change,
No,
or we're not
because
gonna need?
the membership and registration, that's pretty much the cost of the license.
Is 700 gonna be enough for chemical?
Yes.
Okay, all right, just wanna make sure.
The chemical, for some reason. Yes, it's,
You can get the discounted from the county because we are part of the county. And they can't deny us that.
they've been really good about supplying us with pesticides, I will say that. They've been great about it, so. That's where. I don't Ford guy was actually happy about shutting it down straight.
He wasn't.
You know, that wasn't his idea.
All right, animal control. John, you're up again.
Animal control, real simple. $600 for supplies. We bought a microchip reader so we could read dogs if we needed to. This year out of that will come our dog licensing program. Every other year, our dog licensing program comes out of that, and then we trade it off with business licensing. Because it also, the same program does the business licenses also. The other purchase services we have to have in there, because if I have to seize a dog that we don't know the owner that bit somebody, we are required to pay for the quarantine for it until, or the necropsy of the dog's brain to make sure it did not have rabies. Now, if we find the owner, we can go after the owner in court, obviously, to recoup those expenses. But if we can't, we are responsible as a municipality to pay for that.
So what, is it like a computer program or something?
Yeah.
On the
Yep.
operating system?
Yep, so the 600 is a computer program, so this year, that will pay for it, does all of our dog licensing, it does.
Plus we buy out the dog tags.
And the dog tags, sorry, I forgot the dog tags too. Because we have to get them, get the engraved dog tags. And then, so then like next year, that amount we'll probably buy some more bite gloves or something because those leathers start going bad. And then we just keep, that's just kind of what we do. You can see we didn't spend much. 109, we bought a microchip reader last year. Just, we don't have a vet here anymore, so just trying to figure out who the dogs belong to so we don't have to drive them all the way to Bozeman to Heart of the Valley.
All right, so we're at the parks, right?
Yep, you're up.
Okay. You got all your, contributions, all that, I can't. Small item equipment, that's all just the same. This is just, if we need anything throughout the year for. Repair and maintenance services, that went up a small bit, just because of percentage we went from last year, all of that. The rest same. The rest area, all that's a set scale, so it is what it is there. So you can talk about that too much.
Where's your water?
No, that's separate. That's not general fund. That's why, and library is not general fund, and planning board. So we just got through the general fund portion.
Yeah, it's on water, sewer.
So we have to do another work session to go over the rest of. General fund and water and sewer are the two biggest line items.
So do you want to talk about the library not getting general fund money this time?
Whichever you'd like.
I don't know, that's you guys. Yeah, the library's not in here anywhere. We didn't get any general fund money this time. We got 13,000 last year. But 13,000 less. It's getting late. Probably we should start putting this on. Isn't working really well. And I will elaborate on this next time, just a couple of things. That's a terrible precedent we've set to actually wipe out our general fund money for the library. And I understand that you have all of these other costs going on. But just, we got a big boost from the county. That just means we have to do a little less fundraising. So why in the world would you set that precedent and take away from, not anymore, not give us any more, actually reduce our money from the general fund? We have an interlocal agreement with the county, and I have copies here, if you'd like to see them, that says, county funds should not take the place, should not supplant town funds. That's the trend I'm seeing here, is every time we get a boost from the county, we get less from the town. That wasn't the intent of this interlocal agreement at all. Nikki, the last time we talked, you said, well, you need to run another mill levy to equalize this. Well, that's all we have left now, are voted mill levies. My predecessors planned ahead. That's what we have, our voted mill levies. Yet, I see other departments getting no cuts in their general fund budget. If we want to meet our goals through our voted mills and raise our compensated absence, that's gonna then have to come out of our cash reserves. I don't see anyone else's budget decrease here. They all went up to meet the compensated absence. Yeah, that's all I want to say.
So Karen, I have a question. How much surplus did you have last year in your budget?
I can look that up for sure.
Over $40,000.
Yeah, and that's what I was taught to do,
So-
was slowly build our cash reserves.
You have $40,000 left over, but you're asking to count for $25,000?
So we have a building that was built in, in 2009. We have a backlog of maintenance.
Okay.
Okay? And I would then
So-
fiscally,
so
no, I'm
you have
talking,
40,000?
I have been fiscally responsible over the years to plan for these things. We have more than that in backlog of maintenance to deal with. So why shouldn't I build those funds so I can plan ahead?
So my next question to the commission is when the police department wanted extra money, you made us go and get a mill levy. You would not provide that money to us, other than just the general increases in the budget. When we wanted extra money, we had to go get a mill levy. Why isn't the library being required to go get a mill levy?
We
They
already
want the
have
extra money.
voted mills and we fundraise because we don't arbitrarily put our hand up to the public.
And
And if
you're
a
the-
mill levy passes by 10 votes, or the burden isn't placed on the taxpayers by the people who don't want to support them.
And you're the only department in this town that can fundraise.
That's not true.
Actually, it is. Police department can't go out and fundraise. We are prohibited
Court
by state
can't.
law from doing it. We are prohibited.
Okay?
I can show you state law. So if you want more money, why don't you go ask the voters to provide more money for you instead of taking it out of the general fund that the voters don't have a choice on? Why don't you give them the choice like they made the police department give them the choice to vote?
That's why we fundraise. That is why we
Okay.
fundraise, so I don't have to stick my hand up to the taxpayers.
Well, there you go then. You just answered your own question.
No, I didn't.
I don't think that should, she should still have, she shouldn't be cut from the general fund.
Because we've done X amount of dollars each year for that just to be swept away.
Now it's completely.
Yeah, completely gone. That's all I'm saying here.
But you have all that extra money.
That I have been fiscally responsible for and building
Great.
that.
So now you got use for it.
Well,
So,
we don't
but-
have a building to maintain, the library does, so maybe that's
But-
part of the argument.
Have you looked at this building at all?
But this is not just police department.
No,
No.
but this building is entirely the general fund.
Who makes the decision to cut it from general fund?
I
You
did.
guys do.
Okay, so the mayor. And how long have you gotten funds from the general fund?
Ever since I've been here.
Okay. Let me ask you a question, Karen. On that interlocal agreement, did the town sign that interlocal agreement or did
Yes,
the
sir.
library sign it?
The town signed it too.
All right, sounds good. Last one. Can't go through that.
So in that one, those are funds going into capital improvement. One we do every year, the 5,000 for police car replacement. And the other one is new. Eric is going to start putting money in for equipment replacement. Stuff that is general fund, streets, parks, etc.
Not water and sewer,
Not water and sewer.
just, yeah.
Well, the
other two.
water and sewer are going to, yes, I mean, they're gonna put a portion in for it also, because what equipment is used. you
It's
know,
on all
I mean,
of them.
their regular trucks and stuff are used in every department. Water, sewer, streets, parks. So water and sewer will be contributing as well.
Okay.
But you have to, because you can only put away so much every year.
I'm just saying, I don't,
All right, is that the end of that one?
That's it.
Now we have to do approve levied mills for the fiscal year. So that is,
Okay, and I gave you guys the sheet on like the 76.85 for state calculations. And then the long sheet shows, that's the 6 voted mills from the library. That shows on there. And then the permissive mills that we can levy for health insurance. And that sheet is, that worksheet is also, was also in your packet. And that's another state generated fund. And then the law enforcement, which is 50,000. So it comes out to 10.08 mils. We will be able to levy 117.51 mils total. And I don't know if I said this earlier, I'm getting run down too. With the mill levies this year, that we only gained $22,000. That's it,
that was our
You did.
over last year.
so what is that?
Two.
What do you mean?
It varies from year to year.
It varies, it usually goes up a little each year, but we thought, oh my gosh, you know, with all the high taxes and stuff, that this year we were gonna maybe, it was gonna be a little bit better. When it came out to $22,000, I was sick. But anyway, but I need, yeah, we need approval on that number of mills. So that I can let the county know what we're going to be levying.
I make a motion to the levy mills for fiscal year 2003 to 2004.
2003?
How about 23, 24?
Yeah.
That's the sign right there. We went back.
And then we can go into discussion, right?
Mhm.
Second,
All right, discussion.
This one, right?
Yes.
I don't really understand this either. Can I get a quick, like, summary of this? Yeah.
Sure. So Tina, the very first number is what we got to levy last year. That's $359,013.
Okay.
Okay. Then they figure in an inflation factor, which this year was 2.46%.
Okay.
So that's the $8,832. So that gives us our adjusted tax revenue of 367. Okay. The next line is 4,958. And that came from the Department of Revenue. That's on your certified taxable valuation form that's also in your packet. And then why they do this, I have no idea. Newly taxable property, they make you put it in as a negative number.
With that minus 171,
Mhm.
Yes, so that's on that tax sheet also as newly taxable property. So you have to put that in as a negative. And that adjusts your mill values, or, yeah, value per mill to $4,786, blah, blah. But from those calculations, you put in last year's, then you put in this year's, and then it calculates for you the current year calculated mill levy, which is that in blue, the 76.85. From there, the sheet goes down and it just works it backwards. And it puts in automatically, like line 20. That's ad valorem. So this is all, I mean, when I go to enter these numbers into this form, it's set up by the state, and it automatically calculates this for you. These aren't my own personal calculations.
But the value of a mill is $76.85 of.
No, that's how many mills we can levy. That's how many mills we can
right.
put out for. A mill is $4,958.68. Now, in a lot of the budget stuff, you're gonna see it rounded to $1 amount. Because they don't work a lot in cents. Dollars and cents.
I thought you said we could contract out $117.51 this year.
Okay,
That's because.
then you have
we
the
have
6
voted
voted,
mills.
6 for the library, and then you have 10.08 voted for PD. And then we have our permissive mills, which are 24.58 for a total
24.58, yeah.
of 117.51. That make sense? So calculated sheet, library, PD, and permissive for a total.
So that is, I mean, that's the maximum that we can do.
If we vote,
And that 76.85 doesn't just mean that's general fund mill levies. It doesn't? No. No, it doesn't. I mean, we've got planning board to think about, there's PERS, the health insurance, planning board. So that's 76.85 isn't
It's just
the
general fund. Planning board, PRS, and health insurance have to come out of that. No, permissive is separate. Sorry.
But if we're short in health insurance, it could. So, but yeah, so I mean, that 76.85 is not strictly general fund. It can be split out. It is. And you guys still have to look at all those other funds. So, I mean, you're gonna have a chance to look where everything is at in tax-based funds. General fund's just our biggest.
We have to vote on this.
Not tonight.
Oh,
The discussion and approval of
Oh,
levy.
you have to vote on the mills,
Mills.
but the mills are what they are. We can't raise them anymore. But that doesn't say how they're split out in your budget. This is
That
just to let the county know how much money the town of Ennis is gonna get for this fiscal year in mill levies. Yeah, that's strictly it.
so this helps to offset the difference in our revenue and expenditures. Correct? Okay,
Yes.
because that's a big difference. That's all I got.
So any other discussion on it, or can I call the vote? Where did we start?
Do you guys understand?
I think so.
Okay, I mean, this isn't saying, this doesn't say this many mills is going here and this many mills is going here. It says the town of Ennis is going to get this amount of money that these mills generate for their fiscal year. I mean, it's one lump sum.
And then do we vote on where it goes?
Yeah, that's why we're going over the budget.
Okay,
Mhm.
right, I understand.
Yeah. I mean, how it gets split out, I mean, you're gonna, and I'll be starting to fire those things off to you, because I'm close. I just need amen on a couple things.
All right, calling the vote then. Tina? Nikki?
I,
Motion to adjourn.
Just gonna second?
Nope.
Craig gets a second. Okay. Nikki?
I
These are my favorite babies.
Right, myself.
Why are they your favorite? Oh my gosh.
She said it, no video. Don't fold the table up just slightly. Of course, you were flying around, has to unfold. We don't want to hurt ourselves. I have a lockout kit, however, when I'm dressed like this, I am prohibited from using it.
but I'm happy to give you instructions on how to use it. Okay. Okay. But yeah, we're not allowed to, insurance prohibits us from unlocking cars. I'll wait to get your email before saying.
Oh, I still have the old kits in the car. I mean, we used to all unlock the cars, but with all the electronics, the doors, and everything else, the insurance company's like, nope. I remember I mean, we used to open cars all the time, but it was also really easy too. You had that rod that ran right from the connector rod, you just slid it down, hooked it, and pulled it up. I mean, it was not hard to do at all.
John, is it a blood pressure?
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Yep.
You bet.
Got something covered or what?
I'm hoping.
And I've got the long rod. Get the unlocks and pull the handle. I'm just prohibited when I'm in uniform as a representative of the town. I have a wedge to pry over the top too. I have the kit, I just, I can't do it.
I don't want to scratch your feet, but I can maybe try to help you. Okay.
You want me to grab it?
Drake, not in town. Yeah, if you do walk with me, I walk, and sadly, my extra set are in there, but